the Suns. The Phoenix Suns, this has been, I want to say, the worst year that a contending or supposed to be contending team was ever going to have. This has been the most disappointing season for an NBA team in the history of the sport. The largest payroll in NBA history, and you can't make the playoffs in a league where more than half of the teams get a chance. That's inexcusable. This is going down as the very worst, most disappointing team we've ever seen. You lose 8 of your final 11 games. You end up losing 8 straight, all by double digits, and 3 at home by 30 plus points. And I just want to say something. I think Kevin Durant, as good of a player as he is, for some reason, he doesn't take the heat that LeBron James takes. I don't even think that he takes that heat that great players on great teams are supposed to take. When he went to the Warriors, man, I could have played the 5 on that team and they want to win a championship. That team was so stacked. And of course, he was the best player on that Warriors team. He won those 2 finals MVPs, the biggest reason why they won. But outside of that, it's been a mixed bag. And yes, you have Bradley Beal, who outside of LeBron James, he has the only no trade clause. But that team in Phoenix, the year that they put together, it is a case study. I mean, you go out there, you got the most expensive roster in the NBA. They entered the season with championship expectations. And also, it was the hubris. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, this unstoppable big 3 that was supposed to win the West and represent them in the finals. This offense was supposed to be unguardable. Well, of course, that was according to Devin Booker.
I mean, saying it respectfully, I don't know how teams are going to guard us.
Oh, teams guarded you pretty well. Teams guarded you pretty well to the point where you didn't make the playoffs. And that ownership group, Matt Ashiba, he took over in 2023, and things have gotten worse. And the crazy thing about this is you're just a few years removed from when they won a franchise record 64 games. And you were right at the doorstep of a championship. You had Chris Paul and you lose in the finals against that Bucks team. And I think the question moving forward is, how quickly can you blow it up? What do you try to do? Because the truth is, as bad as this season is, you don't have your assets. You don't have your picks. You're in second apron hell. And it's going to be a long, ugly rebuild for Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Bum. I mean, check that. Bradley Beal. It's just been extremely ugly. I mean, the Suns have had, literally, if you're going to look it up, the worst, most disappointing season in NBA history. I mean, you can look at the Lakers team with Steve Nash and Dwight Howard and some of these teams throughout the years that were supposed to be great and didn't quite deliver. But this team is right at the top. I mean, just a poorly assembled roster. It was too top heavy. Yeah, a 37-year-old injury-prone Kevin Durant, a supermax contract with that no trade clause in Bradley Beal. You got a scorer in Devin Booker that plays no defense. And the worst thing, no draft picks, highest payroll. They need to unplug this thing and restart it and see if they can reboot this thing. Because the Phoenix Suns, it's absolute hell for that franchise right now. It sucks too, because I mean, this is a franchise that has great players and they're a solid market and they're good for the NBA. But this is, I mean, James Jones. I mean, you look at what everyone's talking about firing Nico Harrison. I think James Jones is equally as bad, really. When you look at just tanking that roster and just how low just how much they did not exceed expectations. It was just an absolute terrible year in Phoenix, Noel.
Just looking back at that Bradley Beal trade, trading for him on that contract, trading for him when he was putting up empty stats on the Washington Wizards. You know, it's like, I hate to say, because I know you're a big Russell Westbrook fan, but that duo with him and Westbrook, they both they tricked two franchises who were contending into trading so many good assets for them. Luckily, the Lakers have bounced back with this Luka trade years later, but I mean, the Phoenix Suns, like you said, they had a squad. They had a point guard who, of course, Chris Paul was aging, but still very productive. Devin Booker was their main star. Then you had great role players. You had Mikal Bridges, you had Cameron Payne, you had Cam Johnson. And now it looks like they're going to be back to where they were, kind of like a laughingstock of the league, where you're just rebuilding, you're not winning, you're losing for a long time despite having a franchise player. And I agree with everything you're saying. You know, having the highest payroll, having expectations on a team that really should have been competing in a wide open Western Conference, not even getting a chance at the playoffs, is just really, really sad.
But as you bring up, I mean, everyone's talking about the Bradley Beal trade, and for rightfully so, because it was a terrible trade. But the nail in the coffin for the Suns was Yusuf Nurkic, Nasir Little, Keon Johnson, Grayson Allen, and then they get those guys. The Bucks end up with Damian Lillard, and they ship out DeAndre Ayton and Drew Holiday. He gets moved. Of course, he ends up in Boston. Kamara, and then the 2029 Bucks first round pick and the 2028 and 2030 Bucks swap goes to Portland. That trade was a disaster as well. And I think that the big kicker in all this is you got to be patient with your organization. You got to find that one foundational player you can build around. I think kind of the dirty little secret for them is I think Devin Booker is not the player that they actually thought he was. Like, he's good, but he's not like, oh, I'm number one, number two on a championship level team, just as a complete player. He just kind of lacks that next level thing. And then Bradley Beal, as you point out too, putting up stats in Washington where it's in the Eastern Conference, no expectations for that team. I mean, he's putting up a lot of like bubble big time number stats at the time a couple years back. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, it just, and a lot of teams wanted, the Lakers wanted Bradley Beal, right? I mean,
no, I mean, just the, like, even at the time, I think even though like Devin Booker said it was the thing where like, how are they going to guard us? But bringing in a ball dominant scorer when you already have two ball dominant scorers, and shifting Devin Booker to be a point guard when he's already, I mean, well into the prime of his career as a scorer, as a shooting guard, it never really made sense, and it never came to fruition. They tried their best, but when you have guys that are getting paid that much, you can only get veteran minimum guys. Tyus Jones just could have got a bag somewhere else, but he was like, let me come here and I'll play with all these guys. Hopefully I could help like inflate my assist numbers a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for sure. And look, the bitter pill to swallow for them is that, I mean, for a player to have a no trade clause, you expect it to be LeBron or Jokic, but to be Bradley Beal, I mean, that's just, he's a depreciating asset, not the player that he was in. Yeah, I mean, James Jones should be very excited that Nico Harrison did what he did, because he should be taking on the arrows